Right. I
Perfect.
heard that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just starting off, I'm going to read the poem just so I can get it started for the video.
Good. I appreciate that.
Of course. So the beginning of the poem starts How to Float by John Walbarger. And it goes, My mother writes me details of her holiday in Goa. A man is snoring in the next hut. A big rock in the sea is covered with crabs. I can just see her at an internet cafe typing emails, air thick with incense, and German smeared with coconut sunscreen. People used to ask if we were sister and brother. No more. She's frailer, childlike, nervous. Mothers are strange. Primal force ramming against the ego. How do they find peace? She writes, I just sink to the bottom. How do you float? She's so thin. Does she have the body fat? Was she buoyant before me? Before my father? What invisible anvil does she hold? Any little thing can wreck you. Maybe her dad winced at a drawing of hers, perhaps. Perhaps in the water, we must become someone lighter. A lady who skips work to smoke clove cigars and play the marimba. I mean, why don't we drown every time we see a photo of an elephant, face hacked off by poachers? I picture my mother wading to the dark edge of the sand where fear begins. She should float. Look at her. Porous as balsa, guileless as an apple. I write her. Just fill your lungs, have fun. I wish I'd say. Please avoid the ocean. It's fucking terrifying. Okay, so for that poem, I just wanted to ask you, why did you choose to write about that instance, about your mother telling you everything about that?
uh, well, it kind of began with an actual conversation, and then I started to kind of think about it, and I started to it started to draw me in. This idea of floating is
Mhm.
also kind of metaphorical, like how do we glide through life? How does some people just glide through life and it feels like life never touches them? And me, in fact, I've had a lot of privilege in my life, a lot of doors kind of open to
Yeah.
me you know, without a huge effort. And then
Mhm.
other times the door really doesn't seem to open, you know,
Yeah.
and and it just made me think about like this idea of kind of like floating and gliding through life, and that things, when bad things happen to us, like it's a way of talking about trauma, I guess,
Mhm.
right? Like when bad things happen to us, they can kind of stick to us and make it harder to, to
Yeah.
to glide or to float or to be that ebullient person that we were when we were younger.
Okay. Um, and so I wanted to go back to one part just because this really just kind of spoke to me. I don't, it's not, I wouldn't even say it's that big of an important part, but it's the line of a lady who skips work to smoke clove cigars and play the marimba. So your mother played the marimba?
No, no, I'm
No?
in kind of metaphor land at that
Okay.
point.
Okay,
You
because I
know,
know, just personal experience talking that I do percussion, so I play the marimba a lot. So
what? You play the marimba?
yeah, so it's amazing. So I
Oh,
saw that
I'm
and I just
thrilled.
thought I thought she played it. I was like, oh, that is so cool because I rarely ever hear about somebody playing it. So
It felt like something that to play it you would have to have a certain, joie de vivre. I think you couldn't just be like all tense and angry.
exactly,
But
yes.
maybe I'm wrong.
No, you were perfectly right. You got to be loose. You got to be everywhere and doing everything.
Got to be loose to play the marimba.
You really do.
That's cool.
Okay, so that was just some personal stuff that I wanted to ask, just those two, and then some just more questions based around yourself as like a poet, and some will be about this poem in general.
Sure.
So what inspired you to one pursue poetry, just as like as a form of artistic expression?
Um, I guess maybe at a very formative age, I had a lot of art around me. Like my parents were friends with artists,
Hmm.
and I kind of it was like a little longing in me, I think.
Okay.
And then maybe at about high school age, I had friends who went to the art college where I lived. I grew up in Halifax, Nova Scotia,
Okay.
and the Nova Scotia College of Art and Design is a really famous art college,
Hmm.
in that area. Um, and I had a bunch of friends that went there, including my best friend and a girlfriend at that time. And so I was around all these artists, but I felt like such a, I don't know, like a normie, like I felt
Yeah.
like I was like the normie, and so maybe that longing grew a little bit, and I tried different things.
Hmm.
Your name's Aiden, right?
Yes,
I
sir.
tried different things, Aiden. I tried painting a little bit. I tried doing plays. I wrote a bunch of plays. I tried to write a novel,
Mhm.
short stories. But to me, poetry like seemed to fit my cognitive,
Mhm.
the way that my perceptual system. It's because it's a sprint, and it includes a kind of like visionary sprint,
Yes.
which I think suits my brains for some reason.
No, I completely understand that. And thank you for that. So when you're creating a new poem, how at first how do you approach that process?
Well, I'm kind of always jotting down ideas, so I have a ton of poems that don't, make it to a kind of final stage.
Hmm.
Um, and then like I have a new book coming out in the spring, and it's like it ends up being kind of the best poems that fit together
Okay.
from the past 12 years. Some of the poems in this new book are I wrote like 15 years ago.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So it's kind of like wait, what was your question? The
Well, how do you approach the process of creating a new poem?
Oh, I see. Yeah. I sorry, I haven't eaten
No,
today.
you're fine.
I can answer you. I will answer you, Aiden. Here I go. Here it comes. Um I I'm always writing,
Mhm.
so I'm kind of always jotting down ideas. Now, I do a lot of drafting. I'm not somebody who thinks that it's like first draft, best draft. Like
Okay.
I really do have to return to the poem kind of consciously and
Yes.
enter the reverie of it. The dream of the poem. You have to re-enter, and it's hard to think about when you're not inside of it. But when you go back in it, it starts to make sense. So I go back, and like with this poem that you chose. You can see how my mother asking me how to swim, she was asking me how to swim
Mhm.
basically. Uh, it's just a conversation between me and my mother. It's not a
Yeah.
poem. It's not interesting even to anybody. It's just a conversation. But then when you find a little hook,
Yeah.
you find a little metaphorical hook, all of a sudden I was like, what's the base thing that my mother's asking me here? It's how to float. But then she's thin. Why wouldn't she float? So once I
Hmm.
had that question, why wouldn't she float? It kind of asks questions about who she is and floating in a more general sense.
Okay.
So once you get that hook, once it starts to have density, the poem, it becomes more than just an anecdote,
Hmm.
more than just a story about me and my mom. It becomes something a little more, not universal, that's not the right word, but a little more tapped into an archetypal story or something like that.
Okay. And to kind of piggyback off of the like the not just the one draft is the best draft. So for the let me find it real quick. Um, when it comes to like the editing of your poems, how does that usually look like?
Um, I go in it on any particular day, I have like files with just hundreds of pages of like terrible, Aiden, just the worst poems, just the most terrible poems that I would not show you. I would not show anybody these poems.
Hmm.
But there's something in there, like which I'm trying to describe, like that thing which is, it's hinting at something. It's almost a little deeper, but it's not deep yet. So I just kind of, I'm like, I'm gonna write today. I sit down and then I start looking at some of these poems, and then one of them will hook me. I'm like, yeah, I'm in that mood today.
Hmm.
So I go back, and then I do think of it like a reverie, like
Yes.
rev, like the French word.
Hmm.
Like you enter it almost like like a dreamlike space. You re-enter it, and then you have to try to see what are the walls here, where can this go, and
Yeah.
give myself permission to just go a little crazy in there and to add to it, and uh, and sometimes, often it doesn't work. But my process is kind of like that, and then I re-enter this way, re-enter, over and over and over again. I'd have to like it because in truth, it's not that exciting.
Okay.
Um, and then if there's a book that comes out, you're doing it again. You're looking at all the poems. How do they
Hmm.
go together? And then you're still tinkering. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
You know. And then I'll tell you a little Easter egg for this poem.
Oh.
The elephant was a dog. Um, it was like the elephant was like a sad dog that I had seen, a limping dog.
Hmm.
But then as I was putting the book together, I realized I had about five limping dogs in the book. There's just too many limping dogs. Every time I think like, oh, poor animal world, it's
Hmm.
always like limping dog, limping dog. So that happens too, where you're like, okay, my brain, there's like a placeholder thing that I'm doing too often in this book, and then you have to find variety.
Okay. And so I actually had a question with any like secret meanings or anything. Was that the only one with
Secret
the,
meaning?
or just like the elephant being like a dog or
The okay, how do you I'd love to know more about what you mean by secret meanings.
so
Tell me more about that.
sorry.
No problem. You're an artist, you're a musician.
So I know just like with some poems that I've read in the past, they have they can come off as one way as what you would generally think, but it can mean something, and then like in a different sense. Like how I asked about the marimba earlier, I thought that she was like playing the instrument marimba, but it meant that she had to be like loose and everything of that sort. So when you kind of talk about like the elephant actually being a dog because you limping dog, was there any other like secret? Not so particularly just secret, but just like different other meanings that you would probably.
Well, I guess I think of it this way, like once you write the poem,
Mm,
then all the secrets are in it. You know what I mean? Like I there's nothing I can really tell you. I can do like I don't know if you're interested in films, but like the kind of director's commentary, I
mm,
can do that kind of. I can be like, I had this in my head,
mm, yeah,
But the effect here should be the elephant. You know what I mean? Like it
yeah,
doesn't really matter to the poem that it was a dog in my head
yeah.
beforehand. So everything that is important to the poem should be here on the page and accessible to you, without talking to me, I think.
Okay.
But if you want to have like backstory and talk
Yeah.
about poetry, then we can unearth it forever. I mean,
Okay.
one other if I don't know if this is exactly what you're asking, but another kind of thing is like where's the line about like maybe her dad winced at a drawing of hers. So this is kind of um like my mom's dad, my grandfather
Hmm.
used to check their homework like when they were leaving. um they're on their way to school. They all left their homework kind of on a table on the way out.
Okay.
So the father would look at the homework and then kind of judge it, and then if it was good enough, then he would let them take it to class. Now I think this was a crucial moment for her. I think that he kind of judged her.
Hmm.
um I don't even know if she says so, but I suspect that this was a moment where he kind of shot her down a little bit.
Mm.
And so this is what I'm talking about. Like, how do you become an ebullient person, who's just like lighter than air? And how do you become a person with a little darkness in your heart?
Yeah.
It's because your father judges you on your way out of the house.
Okay. No, that was perfect, Donnie. Thank you for that. Um. So.
But can I ask you something?
Oh yes, sir. Of course.
So you're an artist, you're a musician?
I am a musician. I've been playing percussion and only percussion ever since I was in fifth grade, and this is my second year in college now. So I've been playing a whole lot.
That's really great. Are you in a band? And also, what percussion do you play?
So as of right now, yes, I am in a community band that is around here. We do two concerts, one in the winter and the one in the spring, and in the summer we're free. And then for different types of percussion, I would say mostly just concert. I did 1 year of marching
Okay.
percussion. I
Yeah.
really loved it, but there's just no areas where I can find to do that here, and our school doesn't provide that, so it's a little bit of a bummer.
So you don't have a secret desire to be like in a jazz band or something like that?
So I did 1 year in jazz band. I
Mhm.
absolutely loved it. I did it my
Yeah.
last year, but I had transferred schools, and USCB does not provide any bands or anything like that.
And you don't have pals you could make a band with?
I could. They're quite busy though, because most of them are still in high school on their last year, so they're doing
Fair, yeah.
some their own school stuff and in their own bands and everything.
Okay.
So,
Okay, thanks for
of
yeah.
course,
Just
no.
curious. Yeah,
Thank you for
yeah,
asking.
yeah.
Okay, so how do you handle any positive or negative feedbacks, like upon your poems?
If I get negative feedback, I'm like a child. I don't want to hear it. No, I'm just kidding. I think I mean this is like what I would like to be and what I actually am, I
Mhm.
guess. Mostly mostly yeah, it depends, I guess. It depends a lot on who it is,
Mhm.
what the poem is, what the context is. I've been lucky enough to not get too many like negative reviews of my books,
Mhm.
but I don't know that that's ultimately good either because um like we're in an environment, like a critical environment where people don't always say the truth. Like there's a lot of BS and a lot
Yes.
of people writing reviews for their friends. Like there's a lot of that going on now, at
Yeah.
least in the literary world. And I do it too. I'm writing reviews for people and then I'm, meeting them for lunch after. And it's like a way to and then you see them at the conference and
Yeah.
it's like a way of building bonds or something. So I don't know. I don't know. I Mostly, I think I'm pretty okay.
Mhm.
But honestly, I haven't gotten a ton of really negative feedback.
Okay.
I assume maybe negative feedback would be better than the kind of endless politeness that you get, because that kind of is boring. It feels a little boring. It might be good for me ultimately to hear some people really engage in a negative way.
So you would appreciate if you had not necessarily just strictly negative reviews, but just more negative reviews than you're currently receiving.
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
Because when you say negative reviews, also it's a whole range of things. Like
Yeah.
like I have had reviews which are slightly negative, but then you kind of feel sometimes like they don't understand you.
Mm.
Like if somebody really, really got down in the dirt with your poems and you felt like they understood you and they didn't like it. And also they're smart, like you respect them.
Yes.
That might I don't know, that might be a compliment. That might be that you might actually change what you're doing as a result.
Mhm.
But if it's somebody who's just, they're just like,
Yeah.
I don't know, they're just being dismissive and they don't really get you, then it doesn't hurt too much.
Of course. Alrighty. Um, and then so I know that with some poets, they're strict with authenticity upon things. I know you were just talking about like how people can BS some stuff. So how are you strict with authenticity within your poems or with everything around them?
Um, that's a really slippery word.
Hmm.
Can you tell me what you mean by authenticity?
As in, they don't paint this picture that's not ideally true. I'm not too sure on how to properly explain that. Um,
I mean, I think on the one hand, like art is like a kind of filter that's choosing things and not other things. And it's saying things and whenever you're saying anything, you're not saying something else. Whenever you're focusing on one thing, you're not focusing on something else. Uh, and that has a bit of the word artifice is
mhm.
like it's like it's like an illusion. It's like something made up. So it's a little hard to talk about authentic
Okay.
because it's very subjective. I
Yeah.
I can give you a quick response. Um, that I lived in Asia. Some of these poems come from Asia,
Hmm.
were written in Asia, and I have another book that's mostly about Asia called Smog Mother that came after this.
Okay.
But like traveling, the idea of authenticity is a very sticky kind of a term because a lot of us, kind of coming from the West, I grew up in Canada, but I'm American too. So,
Hmm.
like, coming from North America and then traveling in kind of poor places, Indonesia, um, parts of
Hmm.
China, India. Like we come and we want to see the thing. We want to see Angkor Wat, in Cambodia. We want to see Angkor Thom. We're like, where are the real people? Where are the real people here? So can you hear how ostentatious that is? Like how kind of like horrible that ends up being when the people who live there have to suffer just just maybe thousands, tens of thousands of people coming with their cameras looking for the real people,
Mhm.
and it just becomes a silly thing. And poetry has an aspect of that as well because I'm searching for the real thing. I'm searching for, I don't want to write poems about simulated environments.
Yes.
I don't want to write a poem about, I want to write a poem about Venice, not the simulated hotel in Venice that's
Okay.
in sorry, that's in like Las Vegas, the
Mhm.
the copy of Venice that's in Las Vegas. I don't want to write about that. I want to go to Venice, But then in Venice, nobody's from Venice. Everybody,
Yeah.
everybody is, everybody's speaking English. Hello, how are you in Venice? It's like, wait a sec. So finding the authentic thing when you're traveling and when you're writing, it's very, it's very thorny and strange. It's a very complicated and good question,
Mhm.
but it's not one that I can answer quickly like this.
No, that was amazing, honestly. I love the example with the Venice in like Las Vegas, as you said, and like the Venice in the real one. But no, thank you for that one.
Yeah, sure.
Um, what do you? Is there anything that you would hope that your readers take away from your poem?
I mean, the poems that I like,
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, lots and lots of things. So for me, it's like a kind of lifeblood. Like reading poetry is very, very integral to who I am. So like when people share with me poems that they love, that's kind of like beautiful and sacred. I'm like, wow. So I mean, I kind of hope that people have that excitement sometimes now and then for my poems and they're
Mhm.
sharing it, they want to talk about it, they buy the book, they're excited about it. Like there's almost nothing better than like somebody you respect, a friend that you really love, give it lending you a book, even being like, you got to read this book.
Yeah.
And then you read it and you're like, yeah, it's like that's what it's all about. It's like these like a conversation and a commiseration with other people. So I mean, I hope that that happens sometimes with my books, that people hand them back and forth, and that there's just a little excitement. Like, yeah, there's something here.
Mhm.
It's hard to describe,
Okay.
but yeah, I could spend all day answering that question because I everything that I get from poems is what I hope I'm conveying with the poems. You
Okay.
know, Mostly you don't want to be the bad poems. You don't want to be, there's just so much bad poetry out there. So much boring poetry, Aiden. And I just don't want to be that. So it's hard.
So would you label bad poetry to be something that's boring or
Again, it's subjective. It's
okay?
boring to me,
Hmm.
it's not boring to somebody else. Yeah, yeah, boring.
Okay.
But boring is also like all these things are thorny and tricky, right? Because we don't want to compete, for example, with like TV. Like, poems are just as fun as TV. No, they're not. They require a kind of, a different kind of concentration. That's a slow burn. So poems that are like, hey, look, I'm all in caps and everything's crazy, or it's super easy to understand me and here's a picture. That's not necessarily the right, it's not boring, but that doesn't make it good either. So,
Mhm. Okay. Um, is there so writer's block? Is that a major issue for you? And if so, how do you deal with that?
um, I'm teaching now at a place which is it has these intensive terms, like 9.5 week terms. So writing while I'm there is quite difficult.
Hmm.
But almost always in my life, I just write. I just write 5 days a week. I write.
Oh wow.
So it's almost like I don't know if you know the artist Richard Serra, uh, who does these Richard Serra. He's like a sculptor, I guess you call him.
Mm.
He did the big wall between the twin towers, like this, not big wall, but 12 feet wall. He,
Mm.
he likes these kind of like weird sculptures, installations. Anyway, I heard him speak once, and he said that in order to work today, you have to work yesterday. It's almost like an extension of like, I need it on my desk yesterday. It's like that.
Yeah.
It's like, but like, if you wrote yesterday, then you're writing today already. It's like it's like you're rolling. You got to be rolling.
Mhm.
So I don't mean to say I don't have periods that are less fertile. I definitely have periods where I'm like, nothing's coming out. Nothing's good.
Yeah.
Nothing good's going on right now. Uh yeah, that last a long time. But I really live by this principle. Like, you just don't stop working. It's
Mhm.
your life. Like, I teach, but I'm not a teacher exactly. I'm a writer. I'm a poet, so that's what I have to be doing all the time. And if you're doing it all the time, I don't mean to say this is a way of avoiding writer's block, but it's like it just keeps the land fertile.
Mhm. Of course. Um,
And just to say, I should probably get going in a couple minutes.
okay, no, of course. Just let me know whenever. Um, have there been any challenges with getting any of your work published?
I don't know what you know about the publishing world, but yes, the answer is yes. Yeah, yeah. I mean, can you tell me what you imagine the publishing world is like? Or for somebody
Um,
like me, what do you imagine it's like for me or for anyone?
I'm not too sure. Just being honest, I don't know too many things about the publishing world. I just know that's a part of getting like the books and everything out and other sorts. So I just wanted to know more so about the process. If you had any like troubles with that,
By troubles, you mean like the door didn't open to me immediately.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, yeah. I mean, now I have a good publisher now. It's LSU Press.
Mhm.
I have 3 books with them. Um, and that I'm very happy with that. And the journals that I'm publishing in are pretty good. Uh, there's lots of great journals I've never been in. There's like really great publishing houses that are like, FSG, and like, I don't know, like Echo Press,
Yes.
like these really great presses that won't even answer my emails, like they
Okay.
won't. You need an agent. Poets don't have
Oh.
agents. Or I don't know. You need to be like famous already. You need to win like a National Book Award, and then
Mhm.
you. But I mean, it's like it comes down to like what do you want.
Yeah.
Like you can't. Not every single door is going to open to all of us all the time. What do I want? I want to be published. I want to have friends who I want to be read. I want to know these people. I want to be part of a conversation. I want to, you know,
Yeah.
it's all about conversations, like publishing conversation, talking to people, interview, article, review, essay, you know, conference. It's all people. It's these conversations swirling around. And that's all I want is I want to be kind of in that conversation, participating in it, you know. Um, so yeah, I mean, I'll say this. I remember at a certain point, I grew up in Canada, and I remember I'm 56 now, but like when I was maybe in my early 30s even,
Hmm.
my first book published was when I was 40. So like when I was in my maybe early mid 30s, no place in Canada would fucking publish me. Like nobody in Canada would publish me. I could not get published. I could not. I was sending stuff out there, just rejection,
Yeah.
rejection, rejection. And it's always like, oh, thank you for sending your work. It's very valuable to us. And I was like, fuck you. So and it felt to me, Aiden, like Game of Thrones?
I know of it. I have not watched it.
Okay, I don't know if you've seen a meme or whatever, but like there's like this kind of this wall. It's like this ice wall which goes almost to the sky.
Hmm.
It's like this giant wall. And to me, publishing for a while anywhere, even half decent, felt like that giant wall. I was like no way to get over it, no way to get through it.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you kind of do, and then it's a little easier.
Okay. Um, so just to wrap this up, one last question, because I know you
Okay.
gotta go here soon. For any new poets or anybody trying to write, is there any recommendations that you would like to leave for them?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, thank you. No. Yes is the answer. Um, yeah, I would say uh like I guess there's always a mixed bag with all these things, but like there's a I don't want to say that there's a kind of pure way of writing,
Mhm.
which is spiritual or pure. I don't want to say, I don't want
Yeah.
to privilege it like that or make it sound tiered or something like that. But like, I think there's a way, like I have some negative desires mixed into my needing to write.
Hmm.
In a way, if you're Buddha, you don't need to write. You don't need to do anything. You're meditating, You're like doing like I've been studying Zen, like you're doing Zazen, you let go of all ambition, You
Yeah.
just let go of all of it. And then that's cool and you don't need to write. You don't need recognition, you don't need money, you don't need,
Yeah.
um, but for those of us who are not enlightened, you know, like me, um, there's we're asking for lots of different things when we make art. I think we're asking for recognition,
Hmm.
we're asking for validation, we're asking for permission from the people around us. The obvious things like money and fame are kind of really ephemeral, but we're kind of asking for things that maybe our parents didn't give us.
Hmm.
Like we didn't get validation in a certain way. Nobody's told us we were whatever, smart or talented. So we're asking for things that we're not saying.
Yes.
So I guess the simple answer is that people should read. If they want to write poems, they should read.
Okay.
Uh, and I think all of these negative things that we might have in our heads, they're going to be there. But like unless you get addicted to the things that poems do well, and the only way to get addicted to that is by reading. The only way you got to read just obsessively. You got to read endlessly. Like music, like can you imagine somebody making music and never listening to music? It's like that.
Yeah.
It's like somebody who just never listens to music. Oh, I don't listen to music. I just make music. It's like, are you kidding? You know? It would be absurd.
Yeah.
Like music, the love of making music comes from a love of music. Comes from, I think, to some degree, right?
Yes. Heavily.
Heavily. It's the same with writing, except people think that they can write even if they're not obsessive readers. They're like, "Oh, I don't read very much. I don't care about reading." It's like, "Well, where does your hunger where does your hunger for writing come then if you don't like poetry,
Yes.
It comes from these other things that I was trying to say. It comes from a desire for validation, a desire for, the kind of unholy stuff, maybe. Maybe. I don't know.
Of course. Alrighty. Well, thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate this.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Nice to chat.
Thank you so much.
So the recording you have and you don't need help, you're okay?
No, I will be perfectly fine. I just have to turn it into a presentation, chop it up here and there, and I'll be perfectly fine.
Amazing. You're gonna do it in class?
So I will have to do some of it. I'm on my home PC right now, so I will have to edit some on here and then put it into our submission.
Okay. All right, good, Aiden. I hope you do well on the assignment. Nice to chat and take care.
Thank you so much. Have a good one.
Bye.